Hello, Earthlings. How are you? Welcome to the show. Josh Poet here, First Contact Radio. This is our 2 days before Christmas show, actually the last show for the week, so we have no choice. This is it. So the gift we bring you is information. And we're going to start off here with our solar wind over at Space Weather. Solar wind tells us or shows us that we are at 373.7 kilometers per second. And our planetary K index is down to a 0 again. So that is a good thing, which means that our M-class flares and our X-class flares are going to be very low. And then, of course, our geomagnetic storm activity is also going to be very low as well. And then we have just a little note to keep in track of here that on the 26th, day after Christmas, Venus and the crescent moon will gather together for a beautiful night after Christmas sky show. So that is something to look forward to on Monday. Now, astrologically, we're in the sign of Capricorn, which, as I explained the other day, is the sign. Capricorn is an earth sign, so it deals with things more of a earthly or physical nature. Fits kind of right in with the theme of Christmas, where physical gifts are given. And Capricorn, or the moon we have now, is still in Sagittarius, which is philosophy, expansion of consciousness, these ideas. And if you remember, we just came out of Sagittarius, so our conscious mind, which is where the sun shines, represents our conscious mind. Our conscious mind was in the area of Sagittarius, and now all of that conscious thinking has gone underground, so to speak, and is now at our subconscious level. So we're working with the philosophy and the expanded ideas of how we go and how we share, how we use the material things of this world in positive ways that are beneficial and helpful and all that kind of good stuff. And as far as our moon goes, you could see right here that the moon is almost down to a new moon, 2% full. So we're just about there, and the new moon is beginning phase. So everything's really syncing up this year with the moons and the planets and the stars and the Christmas season. And last but not least is our dream spell for today. And our dream spell is a cosmic seed, yellow cosmic seed. The cosmic tone, remember, is the 13th of the 13 tones. It's the last tone. It's the tone called the jumper. It's the one who takes the energy of the 13 and jumps all the way to the beginning of a new wave spell of 13 days and starts over. So the 13s are always the risk takers, the jumpers, the ones who have to take all of the energy that was just gathered over the last 12 steps and is now going to take that energy on to begin the next cycle, the next phase, which will begin tomorrow when the cycle of 13 begins over again, starts with number 1. The phrase for today is I endure in order to target transcending awareness. I seal the input of flowering with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of elegance that comes from the star, which is the guide for today. So there you have it. That's our cosmic weather for today. That should get us started. Dirk Bradshaw is with us. He has a Christmas special. So, Dirk, over to you.
You are watching the Cosmic News Network.
Ooh. Hey there, boys and girls. It is I, Dirk Bradshaw, with the Cosmic News for this evening, or our Christmas special for this evening, I should say. And this was probably not one of my most brilliant ideas. Last year, when we were on the radio, we went out here to do an interview with Santa Claus, and it was a little bit of a pain in the ass. We had to get ourselves on a long list, and it was sort of like a press junket. But he's a very popular man around this time of year, and we expected that kind of stuff. But I braved the cold weather once again, because this time we have video cameras to get this. And so we wanted to make sure that we got this on video this year. And maybe next year I won't have to come. We'll just replay the video. Excellent. Well, I don't even know why I came this year, because when we got out here, Santa Claus said that he didn't know who I was, and that he wanted to handpick the person who interviewed him. And oddly, he picked a young, nice, attractive woman. Not my cup of tea. She sort of reminds me of one of those 70s adult film actresses. But yeah, I guess Santa Claus, ever since the notorious breakup a couple years ago with Mrs. Claus, has been kind of a lonely Santa Claus and doesn't really want to sit down and have a man-to-man talk, as it were. So we had to go and send in for Mandy, who did this interview for us. So really, no purpose for me to be out here in the North Pole. I'm out here freezing my butt off for no other purpose than entertainment, it seems. So, without any more interruptions, so I can get myself off of this icicle, so I submit to you, Santa Claus Exposed. Man, I haven't had this many problems trying to get an interview since I had that one-on-one interview with Michael Jackson's Ghost.
Tonight we are talking to Santa Claus. Welcome, Santa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
You play a couple different versions of Santa, correct? Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, and Father Christmas.
Right. I originally started off as a big elf, but then I worked my way up into the Santa Claus.
Seniority, you worked your way up?
Yes, seniority. You work your way up into the ladder. And then as time came about, from the Santa Claus to the long robes to Father Christmas, St. Nicholas, things sort of changed. And each year there's new and new things that have sort of come about with the outfit as to when, who knows when, the costume will have a very elaborateness to it. So I sort of build up on it every year.
So there are the traditions that we have here in America. A lot of them come from Europe.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the different figureheads that were considered or evolved into our Santa Claus today. The first one being St. Nicholas of Myra.
Correct. From Greece.
Tell us about him.
From Greece. I mean, he was a bishop, and he was a very wealthy bishop, and he would give gifts to the poor and people of needy. In one particular occasion, there was this family who had 3 daughters, and the man was trying to wed his daughters, but because he didn't have any dowry, he was unable to do so. And so Nicholas had gone and through the chimney thrown some coins into the fireplace. And in the process of throwing the coins in the fireplace, because they had socks that were being dried at that point in time, they fell into the socks. And thus the stocking sort of kind of came about.
The stockings.
Exactly. Or many of our today's kids, always look for that little extra cash in the money.
Right. And that started with the bishop.
With the bishop.
And if these daughters had not received this dowry, they would have had to have been prostitutes.
That, or basically, that they wouldn't have been allowed to get wed, and so he ensured it in that particular. And he's done many of those particular things as well.
Do you know of any other of his charitable?
He basically tried to keep, in terms of his activities, very inconspicuous. He did get caught once, and he told the person that not to divulge who he is and what he's doing, because he liked to have this sort of like a miracle of situations that have occurred that it has nothing to do with a person. It has more with the act of charity and of giving. And so he tried to keep himself away from that whole concept of I've done this and I've
actually
given
the very
him this
opposite of our Santa Claus today in some
Yes,
ways.
yes, very opposite, exactly. And
Well,
so,
go
ahead. So things have sort of changed. You have the Dutch with Kris Kringle coming in, again using the bishop symbolism, where he rides on a white horse, and again he gives gifts and presents cheer. In German areas, you have again St. Nicholas. In the European sort of whole context, in terms of Nicholas and Mikuláš, which is sort of a Hungarian, word for it is that they all celebrated on December the 5th, evening of December the 5th, December the 6th. It's Nicholas Day. And children would then take their shoes, place them either outside the door or by a windowsill, and making sure that the shoes are very nice and clean, and nothing, no muddy. In fact, if there is a little bit of mud, then usually they don't get anything. At that point, it has to be very clean, respectful in that sense.
Is that sort of where the idea of a naughty list and a nice list came from?
Well, kind of, yes, because at that point in time, the child would receive either a lot of chocolates and candies and various things being good, or receive twigs or coal, and saying that the switch basically is that has been bad. And so, if the child has already been told at that point in time, on December 6th, then the child has 3 weeks to make up for Christmas, because that's when the Christ child comes and gives you presents. Now, sometimes you get a small present, also in St. Nicholas Day, just a little sort of tidy over. But basically, that in that 3-week time period is where you have to do good, really good.
Recovery time.
Recovery time, exactly.
What about Krampus?
Krampus is a little character that is with St. Nicholas, who is with him in terms of is that you have a very bad child. Okay, that child will be taken away, and there's a bag, okay, which the child will be popped into and take it.
And that's usually Santa's bag.
No, that's actually Krampus's bag. Santa doesn't carry the bag. He just carries, or not Santa, but St. Nicholas. He just walks with the staff, and usually the bag for Santa Claus really came with the American version of Santa Claus, filling the bags, reindeer, all of those particular things. All those came from Clement Clark Moore when he wrote his famous poem about the night before Christmas. And it is through that imagery of the poem that the new Santa Claus came and has stayed with us since then at that point in time.
Thank you so much, Santa,
You're
for
welcome.
being here and sharing your stories with us. And thank you for watching. I'm Esther Mills. Ho, ho, ho. Merry
Ho, ho.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas and good night to all.
Well, I'm sure most of you have been waiting on pins and needles the entire year for this once-a-year tradition. That's right. Dirk Bradshaw sings your favorite Christmas carols. What? Yeah, it's a tradition. It's a tradition I'm starting now. Don't question me. Just roll the tape. What do you mean, where's my Christmas spirit? Screw you.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer. Have a holly jolly Christmas. And when you walk down the street, say hello to folks you know and everyone you meet. Yo ho, the mistletoe hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you. Kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you did, oh by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year. All right, that was it. Let's stop.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. And we got the UFO news for us now. Let's jump over. Our first story comes to us from the Examiner. It's a tubular or cigar-shaped UFO flies vertically over Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. A tubular or cigar-shaped UFO was seen flying high over Nova Friburgo, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil on Monday, December 19, 2011. Unlike most UFO described as cigar-shaped, this particular object was oriented vertically instead of horizontally, giving the appearance of a long tube standing on one end. The video was shared by Yuri Schaub of the Yuri Official and Yuri Schaub Blog Official, who referred to the UFO sighting as incredible. The video on the left of the page comes from UFO Store 1. It has been stabilized and edited for easy viewing. You can compare the enhanced version with the original by launching the video on the left side of the page. There is also a magnified image in which the UFO can be seen undulating as it hovers above some trees and tall buildings topped with old-fashioned outdoor aerial television antenna. Alright, let's check out this UFO here, see what we got. Alright, and as you can see, we got a couple different images. And okay, here we go. Here we go. It's getting exciting now. Alright, we have Roof Phenomenon Presents. Okay, this was the sighting over Brazil. Here we go. You could see a close-up version right here. What's going on here? Alright. There we go. This looks like the object right here in question. You're seeing it out here, so you got a little bit more of a close-up view. And this would be the object, I'm guessing, but when it's... No, that's the antenna. Alright, so you can very see it. It seems to be fainting in and out. Alright, so check this video out on your own, see what you think. But there you go, that's our sighting in Rio de Janeiro. Our next story comes to us from Scott Waring, blogspot.com. This is a series of clouds disguised as cloaked as UFOs over England. These are pretty interesting photographs here. There you go, there's one. It says, are the UFOs cloaked to look like cloud formations? A creepy cloud formation was reportedly photographed today hovering over England, and users on the social news website Read It began spreading the pictures. User Chris Walker B. from Yorkshire, England posted this photograph and asked other Redditors, creepy cloud hovering over England can explain. In return, he received 712 comments and counting. However, no one had an exact answer. Alright, here's some of the other pictures. And there we go, there's another one. Pretty interesting looking clouds, not the kind of clouds you normally see in the sky. Clouds that actually look like some. Look at this cow's even looking over there to see what's going on. Alright, very good, good pictures. Our next story comes to us from the latest UFO-sightings.net. Possible UFO over Zagreb, Croatia. 21st of December. This is the largest city in Croatia. Here we go. Alright, we're going to see the object. It's way, way out there. It's kind of faint. I don't know if this is it. Okay. I'm trying to close in. Oh, there it is. Okay, you could see it right here, right in the middle where the mouse is going. It's a very faint, small, whitish silver object that's out there. Okay. So sighting over Zagreb, and the last story here comes to us from UFO-blogger.com. Now, the other day, remember, I played a clip of a UFO sighting that took place over the football game there in Denver. So just 30 miles away from Denver International Airport, something in Arvada produced a frequency signal to knock out power to 40 garage doors in a tiny community. The city of Arvada is a home rural municipality located in Jefferson and Adams counties in Denver metropolitan area in the state of Colorado. The problem started 2 days ago in the 7,000 block of Torrey Court. It encompasses half a mile radius. It's really weird, says Gina, who lives in the area. She did not want to provide her last name. No one knows what it is. Gina thought she was alone until she learned of other neighbors dealing with the same problem. I think it's amazing, Colin Cooper, another neighbor, said. What if it is a UFO, he joked. Experts say anything with a wireless signal could affect garage doors, like Christmas lights, coffee makers, appliances, Gina said. The pros told Gina and other neighbors small items couldn't have caused the big problem, so whatever it is rather large. I wish we knew, Gina said. All right. Very interesting indeed. And that, my friends, that is our UFO news for today. Let's jump away to our song. I'll be back. I've got a bunch more news. Stay tuned. What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth. All right. So do you think you know those words to the song by heart? You played enough, right? One day I'd love to walk out and hear everybody saying, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Trying to wake up all their neighbors, wake everybody up, because there's a lot going on in the world. And, you know, as much as there are people that know, there's still a lot more, unfortunately, that don't really know what's going on. I talk to them every single day. I'm sure you do too. And it's just important. We have to keep informing each other. Just because the holiday's here doesn't mean that the powers that be have stopped trying to do the things that they're going to do. Because people are still flying through airports, having to deal with the TSA. People are still dealing with military issues. People are still dealing with the bills that were passed by Congress. None of those have ended because Christmas time is coming. It's just a time when people aren't paying attention to what's going on because they're turning their attention to families. The governmental family has let down America. They've let down the world. people have to turn to the families that they know and they love, and that's their families, their close families, their birth families, their extended families, whatever it is. But this is a season of family, and we pay attention to the families, and all the other things that are done to protect the families. The laws, the bills, the military, everything is being done to protect that. And when you have an administration that is destroying the very things that's supposed to help our country, well, that doesn't look very well. Doesn't work very well. Now, one of the issues we've talked about quite a bit was the TSA. And here is another story about the TSA, since everyone's having to deal with them over the course of this season. I think this is important that you know. This is Congresswoman. TSA screeners should stop impersonating federal law enforcement officers. Let's listen to what the Congresswoman has to say.
Well, we've all heard the saying, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and, well, it probably is a duck. But that is not the case for some House GOP members when it comes to TSA officers. Outraged over recent strip searches of the elderly and pat-downs of toddlers, they are backing a bill that would ban TSA officers from using the title officer, wearing a badge, or wearing uniforms resembling those of police officers. It's called the Stop TSA's Reach and Policy Act, or the Strip Act. Something you probably can easily remember. There's been a lot of controversy about the TSA as of late. It has a budget of more than $8 billion. I spoke with the Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, about this week. She said the money is worth it.
We have the largest, most complex aviation system in the world. I think there's something like 1.8 million passengers fly every day, and 450 plus airports in the United States. And it is a very safe system, but it takes work to be there.
I also asked the Secretary about the badges issue, and she said that being a TSA officer is a very tough job.
If you make a mistake, if you miss something, you are the last line of defense before somebody gets on the plane. And, the result could be very, very serious. And so our officers undergo a lot of training and continual. Every day they're getting briefed on new things that are coming through the system.
Joining us now is the sponsor of the Strip Act, Representative Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee. Representative, good to have you with us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
She makes a good case. These people do have a lot of pressure on them, and they are the last line. And I'm wondering why it is that you think this badge issue and uniform issue is so important.
I think it's important because they are not officers. They are not federal law enforcement officers. They do not get any federal law enforcement officer training. They are not eligible for those benefits. And even though they have gone to wearing these uniforms, which they did this through administrative rulemaking, not through coming to Congress, they wear the uniforms, they wear the badge. We still have had over 25,000 breaches. And what we are saying is, look, these are screeners. You have reclassified their job title to say officers. You did that administratively. They should go back to being screeners and focus on protecting the flying public, not to overreaching their authority because they're wearing a law enforcement uniform and a badge.
Well, what do we get if they take it off? I mean, I'm just curious because the American Federation of Government Employees said the bill is insulting to the 44,000 TSA workers that they represent. They say, look, you can get what you want in your bill. It doesn't add anything to national security. It's just insulting to them. What do you say to that?
I say that what we're talking about is TSA has now become the largest agency. When you're looking at employment, it's larger than labor, education, energy, HUD, and the State Department combined. 65,000 employees. They have unionized 40,000 of these screeners. And it should not be insulting to say, look, you need to go and be a screener. Is it insulting to federal law enforcement officers that you have someone who is a screener with minimal training? They advertise for screeners on pizza boxes and at discount gas stations in the Washington, D.C. area.
Right.
They do not have to go through this law enforcement training. Maybe they should stop impersonating federal law enforcement officers and stop the overreach. Get back to assisting and protecting the traveling public.
Why, though, do this bill? Why not just go all the way, as some have who are running for president in the Republican Party, and say just get rid of the TSA altogether, or even the DHS?
what we want to do is put the focus back on protecting the traveling public. And they have a task to perform, which is to make certain that individuals are meeting the guidelines and not traveling with things they should not be. But what we also want to do is make certain that we are getting a good value for the dollar that is spent. You can look at the study that was done comparing the cost of screeners at San Francisco and LAX. TSA does the security at LAX. At San Francisco, it is done by a private company. It costs $11,000 less per individual to train to TSA standards, and they find more items that should be removed before individuals get on the planes. So I think that what we're trying to do is focus, Erin, on how do you make certain that individuals are safe. How do you do it in a way that is going to be sensitive to the taxpayer, respectful of the individuals flying, and not allow these TSA screeners to impersonate federal officers?
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your taking the time. And viewers, let us know what you think about the badge issue and about the TSA. Whether you think they make this country safer. I know a lot of you are. Some people are probably watching in an airport tonight, probably throwing things at the screens. They're not very happy with the TSA, but nonetheless, please get on your iPad, go to the blog, and let us know.
All right, I'm going to let you know right now what I think about the TSA. I think that they are all sick individuals, not every single one of them, but I think the organization as a whole is a sick organization that needs to be cured. How many stories are we going to hear about TSA agents that are molesting children? How many stories are we going to hear about TSA agents that are pedophiles that somehow slipped through the cracks and are now working for the TSA? We hear far too many of these stories. Or the TSA agents that are running through the airports all high on coke, claiming that they are God. Or the TSA agents that are strip searching 90-year-old women or pulling catheters out of people. How about these individuals? None of this should exist. That's not safety in this country at all. That's called terror. And these people at these airports should not have badges at all because they are not police officers. You know, a friend of mine, retired military, went through, he has his veteran's badge, he went through the screening process, and when he showed his badge, that he had a government-issued badge, the TSA agent didn't even know what the badge was. So the TSA agent called the supervisor over. The supervisor didn't know what the badge was. A government-issued badge given to a veteran of the military, and yet the TSA had no idea it was and pulled my friend over into a room and questioned him. And when my friend brought up to the point that he was going to go to a supervisor and inquire why they didn't know what the badge was, miraculously, they let him go. Because they knew that if they had to go to their superiors and claim that they didn't understand the identification going through, that might be an issue. So if they didn't understand that identification, what else don't they understand? You can go right now and find a story of a reporter who just recently went through the TSA checkpoint with a boarding pass that they photoshopped. They wanted to go through and see what would happen. They went through. They passed. So the TSA agents are doing nothing except terrorizing your family and your children. That's wrong. They shouldn't be there. So we need to fix this. We need to pay attention. I'm still waiting. One of these days, we're going to hear the story of a parent who punched a TSA agent square in the nose for touching their kid improperly. That story's going to come one of these days. You watch, because it's getting worse out there, and the more that there's these pedophiles and that are found within the agency, the bigger the problems are going to get. It's not right. I have a big issue with that because I keep going on about it, but something's got to be done. Now, next story right here. Pay attention to this one, my friends. Upon release of martial law documents, the plan for America's destruction becomes apparent. This comes to us out of InfoWars. This was written by Saman Mohammadi. The top story of 2011 is not the assassination of Osama bin Laden, a CIA psyop, but the advancement of the martial law agenda in America under the public radar. On Wednesday, December 21st, Infowars.com published a brand new FEMA document dated from November 18th that shows the military involvement in a FEMA-led takeover within the United States under partially classified continuity of government plans, and designate the American people as enemies under the live military tracking system known as Blue Force Situational Awareness, otherwise called BFSA. The FEMA document Appearing under the headline National Continuity Programs, NCP Program and Mission Support Services, PAMSS, asked contractors to assist FEMA in national emergencies. But don't let the bureaucratic language fool you. This is really a martial law document. FEMA is not interested in emergency preparedness, but in establishing a military dictatorship in the United States. This is a situation which I'm asking you to pay attention to, because even though it's the holiday season, it really doesn't mean anything to those who are trying to cause problems for the rest of the world. And the bills like this, the NDAA, and what they want to do with the American people is not a good thing. So they may allow everyone to have their time off, but the powers that be are still pushing these laws forward. They haven't been repealed. Obama has not vetoed the NDAA as he said he would. He signed it. There are problems, my friends. There are plans in the works. We need to keep paying attention and keep waking each other up, because if they put these plans into effect, the American people could end up getting screwed. And the two organizations who are going to be caught right in the middle of it are going to be the police departments, because if martial law is put in place, the police officers are not going to have the same power that they had, and therefore they're going to be pitted against either the people or the military. And the other is the military, because you have the men and women in the military, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, family members who are out there that are going to be asked to turn their guns on American citizens or go disarm American citizens. These are your brothers and sisters. These are your friends. These are your family members. A lot of them are coming home for the holidays. A lot of them are going to be available for conversation. Remind them. They swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. Remind them that if they are out there imposing martial law on some part of the country, that there's a good possibility another military personnel, another soldier is somewhere else in another part of the country harassing their family member as well. They don't want to do this. Military has fought and protected this country. They've died for this country over and over and over. We don't need to be fighting a war with this country, and that is what is being set up. The people of this country and around the world are being played by those behind the scenes, and it's only when people step up against it is that going to stop. Now, the Occupy movement has been going on, and even though we don't hear a lot about it on the mainstream, doesn't mean it's stopped. It says this week we take a break from the serialization of sacred economics, money, gift, and society to present an article inspired by the protest across the country connected to Occupy Wall Street. It says Occupy has awakened a potent energy that has been lying dormant. It has made activists the people of a new generation and brought renewed hope to veterans of past movements. Unlike earlier protest movements, it has not objected to any specific policy such as segregation or the Vietnam War. It is a protest against the condition of society, highlighted by the maldistribution of wealth, debt, whose symbol is Wall Street, that goes deeper in anything that occupiers can easily name. As we say, no demand is big enough. Having been awakened through this energy needs to find appropriate avenues of expression. So far the movement has eschewed involvement in electoral politics, nor has it adopted any specific social cause. An outside observer might think that the purpose were a fight for the right to camp in urban centers. While the right of free assembly and the reclamation of public space are important issues, the vast groundswell of public indignation that OWS has tapped into is not primarily about those. If the movement turns inward and becomes about the encampments themselves, it will alienate the majority of public and become a historical footnote. The occupations have served as an important purpose, but the time has come to direct the energy that they have awakened towards tangible goals. I say this with all due respect for the wariness that has held the movement back from the political involvement so far. Whatever these tangible goals are, they must not be too narrow. No one in the movement is going to get very excited about any proposal in the mainstream political radar, the payroll tax cut, for instance, or Obama's health care plan. For too long, the left has mortgaged its soul to a dispirited, defeated version of the practical. Society and the planet are in such strait that the old practice isn't enough. We need to think big and then be practical. There's a bunch more to the article. I'm going to leave that for you. But the movement's still going on. Don't believe the stories that it's ended, because it hasn't. Just like the occupations around the world haven't ended, we're still hearing stories about those. These are going to be going on for a while. We're just getting revved up, folks. We're just heading into 2012, which is a year that's going to carry with it a lot of anxiety just from the year itself. I mean, just think how many people are thinking about 2012 and think about the movie, or think about the Mayan calendar, think about the potential end of the world destruction that could be out there. And when you have people thinking that the end of the world is less than a year away from now, people could do anything, and probably will. So we need to really pay attention. This could be a crazy year coming up. Now, 9/11, we're not going to forget about that one, because 9/11 was an inside job. This is an article that says, did someone forget about the demolition company? Comes to us out of the Intel Hub. Once one has come to terms with the possibility that 9/11 was an inside job, then one must face a very important question. What demolition company would even be capable of demoing such structures, WC Towers 1, 2, and 7? Well, let's take a closer look at a demolition firm known as Controlled Demolition, Inc. CDI's website states the following about their company. A 2,000-ton skyscraper collapses like a house of cards, crumbling in on itself. A waterfall of well-fractured steel and concrete debris. It lasts only seconds, and buildings within a few meters stand untouched. The very essence of Controlled Demolition, Inc. is in our name, Control. Well, does that description provide in their website remind you of anything? Their website also admits that sensitive foreign and domestic operations have been conducted with U.S. government agencies. Here is an excerpt from the government section, CDI's website. Department of Defense, Controlled Demolition Incorporated has the appropriate experience and expertise to assist DoD agencies and contractors in demolition operations on sensitive projects, domestically and internationally. Through the support of our international network of offices and agent relationships, Controlled Demolition Incorporated can respond properly for defense-related consulting and performing requests on short notice. So, this is a long article here. I want you to check this out. You know, when the whole cleanup job was happening there after 9/11, it was a company called Controlled Demolition that came and carted away all the debris. That in itself is kind of weird, that a company that was a demolition company was there to cart away the debris. Why not just call a salvage yard? Why not just call a cleanup company? But a controlled demolition company to be involved with an operation that people already think looks like a demolition? A bit suspicious, my friends, a bit suspicious. Now, with all the pieces in place, when will the hammer drop? Madison Rupert, Intel Hub, says over the past few months, those who have been paying attention have witnessed some of the most disturbing developments in modern Americans' history unfold at breakneck speed. This includes the explicit codification of indefinite detention without charge or trial, as well as rendition under the National Defense Authorization Act, fiscal year 2012. The KBR moved to create a team of subcontractors to activate the so-called FEMA camps on a moment's notice, and the designation of American citizens as enemy under the continuity of government plans created by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Unfortunately, the file revealing the FEMA COG plans entitled National Continuity Program, Program and Mission Support Services was quickly removed from the Federal Business Opportunities official website, according to InfoWars. All that is left is a message warning users not to upload any classified materials, even though the document was listified as source selection sensitive and not classified, as the warning notice might have you believe. This serves as just another example of how our criminal, corrupt government, believing there is no need for them to be accountable for their actions to the American people, which are used as collateral and manpower in their insane schemes. So, they come out with these documents, they put them out there, they talk about issues of continuity of government, but you're not supposed to know, and they don't want you telling others about it because, shh, it's a secret. They just want to imprison Americans, and they don't want anybody to say anything about it. So, please, do your part and talk. They say don't talk, talk. That's what we have to do. It's the only way to protect ourselves. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck with another president in the White House who is just going to fall down on the job like the last president did, and the president before. They're just going to be warmongers. Wasn't Jesus a peace bringer? Wasn't that the whole idea of the holiday season that we're on, to think about peace? I don't remember anywhere in the Bible where God says, thou shalt kill. God says, thou shalt not kill. So all of this stuff that's going on with the government that keeps pushing war and pushing war and pushing war is going against God. So the decision Americans and people in the world need to make is, are they going to follow their leaders of their country who say kill, or are they going to listen to God who created everything that says don't kill? That's a decision, and that's something everyone needs to consider, because believe me, the issue is being put before people every single day, and the more that these bills are put in place, the more people are being affected. Now, I've got, let's see, Ron Paul, let me put this one up here. This is Judge Napolitano, and he's talking about how Ron Paul would defend America. Now, one of the things you have heard lately is Ron Paul is being attacked as being a racist. And he's being attacked for things that were written in a newsletter many, many years ago, about 20-some years ago. Anybody who really pays attention to Ron Paul and listens to Ron Paul knows that he's not racist. It doesn't really take a brain surgeon to figure that out. All you have to do is pay attention. But what they're doing with this mainstream, with the corporate media, is they're painting a picture for people who won't bother to go and look any deeper at Ron Paul's history or his background to understand. So they're going to twist the story around the way they want. I saw a full clip of this interview that he did on CNN with the reporter, and she just kept asking him the same question over and over. He answered the question. She asked again. He answered the question. He referred her back to a previous conversation with the same answer, and she kept going on, and finally he walked out. Well, what they're picking up on the shows now is that Ron Paul walked out, and that's a big problem, and he walked out because she kept asking the same question over and over and over. You would get irritated too if you were in his position. So let's take a look at what Judge Napolitano has to say here about Ron Paul.
I'm Tracy Burns, in for Judge Napolitano. Well, before the judge left, he taped an interview with columnist Jack Hunter about a supposed weakness in Ron Paul's campaign, his foreign policy. Take a listen.
Attacks on Congressman Ron Paul's campaign claim he is not fit for the American presidency because of his foreign policy views. The critics claim he's an isolationist. But is this charge accurate? Or is he something else, namely a non-interventionist? So, how would a libertarian foreign policy keep us safe? With us now to sort out the distinctions is author Jack Hunter. Jack, it's always a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch. Why does the establishment, the big government Republicans, that would be all of them running against him, call him an isolationist? What does that conjure up?
Well, because they don't want to have the discussion that Ron Paul is having with the Republican Party, that we're doing too much overseas, that we can't afford it. I always like to point out this, is Canada isolationist? Is Sweden isolationist? If a country isn't everywhere in the world all at one time, spending all this money, flexing its military muscle globally all at one time, does that mean they're isolationist? Well, America, is probably doing too much right now. A lot of our military experts think that. A lot of our political experts, and we know we can't afford it. This notion that we can't talk about it, that we can't have a cost-benefit analysis on Afghanistan and Iraq, is not isolationist. Okay. It's a conversation the Republicans do not want to have.
Let me pose this conversation to you. We wake up one morning and there's a Chinese fleet in New York Harbor, and Ron Paul is president. What would he do? Would he look the other way?
That is an act of war, and you'd blow them out of the water. First of all, they shouldn't have got that far to begin with. There would have been some line out there in the Atlantic Ocean.
All right.
That's
I just wanted to give you the most frightful example.
Well, that's right, and that's a common misperception. Ron Paul believes in a strong national defense. In fact, his budget provides for a military 4 times the size of China. I mean, we're talking about a large, strong national defense. The question is, when do you use it? How often do you use it? Does it make sense when you use it? How much money are we spending?
All right. Does Ron Paul agree with Admiral Mullen, the recently retired chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who said our greatest national security threat is the national debt? Stated differently, would he keep open the 900 military facilities that we have around the world?
Absolutely not. There's a big difference, and Admiral Mullen was absolutely right, between a national defense, which Ron Paul supports strongly, and an irrational offense, which is a lot of what we do around the world today.
All right, Ron Paul and Israel. Why is this controversial in the Republican Party. I mean, Ron Paul is in favor of the right of every nation to defend itself. There was a time during the Iraq War in the Iraq-Iran War in the 80s when Ron Paul stood up for and defended Israel against the other Republicans, one of whom was Ronald Reagan.
That's exactly right. And Ron Paul said repeatedly that Israel should be and always has been one of our best friends. You're talking about 1981 when Israel decided to attack a nuclear reactor, and the entire United States Congress condemned Israel, except who? Ron Paul. He stood by Israel, the right to their own self-defense, and defended their sovereignty. It is up to that nation or any nation to do whatever it needs to.
What has been the tradition of conservative Republicans in the Republican Party prior to the George W. Bush days about using the Defense Department for defensive purposes
Well, if you go back to Robert Taft, you look at Barry Goldwater, you look at Ronald Reagan, it's to have a sober and realistic national defense. Ronald Reagan, for all these Republicans running for president saying they're Reaganites on foreign policy, we didn't have any prolonged wars under Ronald Reagan. We weren't in Iraq and Afghanistan for 10 years or anything like that, facing a menace far greater than anything we face today in the Soviet Union with nuclear weapons in our backyard. Something much more worse to deal with. And yes, Ron Paul is closer to what Reagan believed in, Barry Goldwater, Robert Taft. It is the conservative Republican tradition to be sober in our foreign policy.
Got it. Jack Hunter, it's a pleasure. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks,
All right, very good. There's one more here. I'm not going to have time to play all of this, so I'm just going to make mention of it because I have this linked up to our page. It's RT. It's about the MS, the mainstream media, how they're attacking Ron Paul. Can he survive? Talking about what went on with his situation. Basically, as I said, they're bringing up a situation that happened a long time ago, a newsletter. Somebody else wrote the newsletter. He doesn't like what was in there. He has said over and over, and the media wants to continue to play on this because they're trying to pull some dirt out about him. They're trying to bring him down because they don't like what he's saying. He wants peace, but they want war. There's a big difference right there. All right. I think, let's see what we're going to do now. The next order of business, we're almost to the end of the show here. All right, I get to drag this song out here once a year. Once a year I get to play this, my friends, and I think that obviously today is the day. So I think that you will find this. Let me, where are we at here? Okay. There we go. Very good. All right, enjoy this. This is a fun little Christmas thing from us to you.
Santa Claus is an alien, he comes from far away, traveling across the universe in his galactic sleigh. Every year he brings gifts to good girls and boys. Santa Claus is an alien, here to help spread joy. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too. Santa Claus and his reindeer are a cosmic team, here on Earth on a mission to fulfill your dreams. With the help of his elves to make the season bright, Santa Claus is an alien, here to shine the light. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too. Santa Claus is an alien in a bright red suit. Peace and love and happiness is what he gives to you. If you share his message with others, you will find Santa Claus the alien is with you all the time. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too.
Just a little fun from us over here at First Contact Radio. Let's do our meditation for today. What do you say to that? Go ahead and close your eyes. Relax. All right, I'd like you to imagine you're walking down a path. And just straight ahead of you, a short distance, is the end of the path. And you see a table set out, a place to sit and rest. And you look behind and you see how far you've come. Not just this week, but the entire year. And you think back of all that you've accomplished, all that you've attempted to do. And you realized how much you've learned this year, how much you have grown. And you feel that this holiday season is a well-deserved break, an opportunity to really connect with your spiritual family, with your earthly family. Let's make sure all of our chakras are activated, starting to chakra at the bottom of the spine. Imagine the color red. Bring the chakra up, the energy up higher to the chakra above it. Imagine the color orange right around the belly button. From there, bring the energy up higher to the chakra just below the rib cage. Imagine the color yellow. Bring the energy up to the heart chakra. Imagine the color green. And then let the energy come up higher to the throat chakra. Imagine the color blue. From the blue throat chakra, bring the energy up to the third eye, right between the two eyebrows. Imagine the color violet. And then finally, top of your head, imagine the color indigo, and seeing the light continue on into the sky as bright white light. Now, you've got all this multicolored energy floating through your body. See it, feel it, imagine it overflowing, and the overflow forms the line of light around your body. This is your spiritual armor. Practice turning it on and off. It's part of the spacesuit that you wear. Let's imagine from the heart chakra sending out the color green all around the planet. Love. Let's think of all of those this holiday season who will be with their families, celebrating Christmas, celebrating Hanukkah, celebrating Kwanzaa, just celebrating time of being together with family. And let's take a moment and think of those who are unable to be with their families this holiday season. Let's send out love and light and happiness to all of them, that they find a way to enjoy their season, their time away. Let's send love and light out to those who are sick or ill or recovering during this holiday season. Let's send out light and love to all those who are saddened, that they might find the peace and joy of this holiday season to understand what it is truly about. And last, let's just think good thoughts for everyone, all of us in the whole wide world. Just think good thoughts for everybody around the planet. Wish everybody a good holiday time, a good weekend, a good safe time. And with that, let's bring our energy and attention back to the present moment, and we'll do so on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. There you have it, my friends. That's our prayer or meditation. I hope you enjoyed the show. Have a great holiday, man. Have a great holiday. If you're celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. If you're celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you're just celebrating life and the returning of the light, then happy return of the light to you. Whatever the celebration is, this is a season to remember the goodness, the light that is available for all of us. All different races and religions and groups celebrate in different ways, but we're all celebrating the same thing. The returning of the light, the opportunity for good in the world. And we can all make this world a better place, because there's millions of more good people than there are of those who are causing the problems. So let's just think peace and through our thoughts of peace and love, know that we can change the world. That's it, my friends. That's our show. Enjoy your holiday. For Dirk Bradshaw, I'm Joshua Poet. I'll be back next week with more news and information. Till then, have a great time. I will talk to you soon. Peace. And I send you out one more time with the Santa Claus song.
Santa Claus is an alien, he comes from far away, traveling across the universe in his galactic sleigh. Every year he brings gifts to good girls and boys. Santa Claus is an alien, here to help spread joy. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too. Santa Claus and his reindeer are a cosmic team, here on Earth on a mission to fulfill your dreams. With the help of his elves to make the season bright, Santa Claus is an alien, here to shine the light. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too. Santa Claus is an alien in a bright red suit. Peace and love and happiness is what he gives to you. If you share his message with others, you will find Santa Claus the alien is with you all the time. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, one and all, and Happy New Year, too.